We're back by popular demand. It's Season 2 of the Wed-Cast, brought to you by Film Media Wedding Videography. Welcome back to Episode 3 of the Wed-Cast. My name is James, as usual, and I can't believe we're in week 3 already. What a fantastic couple of weeks we've had. Obviously, first of all, we had Emily from Film Media Wedding Videography, obviously the company that I run. Then the following week we had the fantastic Victor Ling from the Photo Booth Company, which was fantastic. And today we have got one of my best friends in the whole world coming on. Obviously, last year we had one of my other brothers, which was Ed Crayford. This time round, though, we have Simon Watson, an absolutely brilliant photographer, who isn't just a photographer to me. He isn't just a work colleague. He's a guy who I've spent a lot of time with, in and outside of weddings as well. So we're going to be talking to him. He's going to be telling us about all the things he does in regards to wedding photography, how he got started in the business, his style of photos, and everything in between, really. So, without further ado, I'm going to get Simon on the show now, and enjoy, guys. Hi, Simon. Welcome to the Wed-Cast. It's great to have you on. How are you today?
Very well, James. Thanks very much for the invite.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on. I tried to get you on last year, but obviously with the time commitments and everything, because obviously you're a busy man to get hold of, it's great to... it's true, isn't it?
Thank you.
Doing what we do.
Thank goodness you can't see me blushing.
Well, doing what we do, obviously, it's hard sometimes to get people on, and so we appreciate your time. Got lots to talk about today. First of all, the main purpose of this show is for bride and grooms who are getting married either this year or next year or even the year after, to hear a little bit about different types of things that various suppliers do. So, obviously yourself, you're a wedding photographer. How did you get started in that line of work? Let's start with that.
Should we? A bit of a history lesson. I've always loved, obviously, photography at school. And my dad was obviously a keen photographer, and I always wanted to do photography, and I loved it. And I had somebody at school always pushing me to do it, and then when I left school, I sort of gave it up. Because that was really hard to get into, and we were just about to go from film to digital, and all film prices went through the roof. So I sort of went off it. But it's crazy to see. There's one film came out quite a few years later, called 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Right.
And taking away the funeral part, I just loved in that film how they portray a wedding.
I haven't seen this for a long time.
All the craziness that comes together, because it is like working in the middle of a whirlwind, wedding morning. And I love it if I'm doing wedding prep, or even if I'm just meeting couples at the ceremony. It does always feel like that film, that there'll be all these different characters all under one roof, and you're trying to capture them to tell their story, where they'll look back for years to come, I'd like to think, and think, can you remember when our photographer captured that? Can you remember that bit? Didn't even when the first kiss and the first look, and all them little bits that really sort of play deep in my heart. Hopeless old romantic that I am, but I really do love absolutely throwing myself head first, feet first, whatever you want to say, into the whole wedding experience.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, filming weddings myself, we've obviously worked together lots of times, and
yes.
I can really relate to what you say in regards to throwing yourself head first, and it is a special day, really, really special, and it's a job like no other. It's a job you can't describe to anyone unless you've done it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think if you wake up the next day and can't move, and you just feel like you've got a hangover, you know you've had an absolute blast of a wedding.
Wedding hangover.
And I think that's how I always tell that you put all that energy into that day. The next day you can hardly move because you've carried the gear. It's either been hot, it's been cold, you've got wet. You've got all these different scenarios. And you remember like that wedding we had where it rained all day, and we had half an hour to get one shot.
Yeah.
And then the wind picked up, and we came back the next day. I don't think I'll ever forget that wedding.
That was, we can talk a little bit more about that in a little while, but that was a really interesting day. It was a beautiful wedding, really, really beautiful. Obviously, yes. the weather did kind of like scupper plans in a way, but as I said, we went back the next day. It was amazing. We even actually had Leo join us
Yes, we
on
did.
that, which is fantastic. I think that's the first wedding he's ever done. I think at the moment the
Yep.
only one, but he loved it.
Yep.
But that's what we did there. Not to blow our own horns, and it sounds like we are. It's about going that extra mile for the bride and groom, and as a wedding supplier, it doesn't matter if you're a photographer, a videographer, a DJ, a magician, anything like that. You want to give that customer, you want to give that bride and groom the best day that you can possibly give, the best experience, because at the end of the day,
Totally.
they get one go at this. For us, we do weddings all the time. No wedding's the same, but for that couple, we both of us, we care, and I think that's what makes. I think that's what makes what we do. I'm trying to. It's hard to say. That what makes we do. That is how it makes it special for us. Does that make sense? And for them.
Yeah, definitely. And it never feels. And I think if you get on, especially with how both of us have that approach, we don't just take the deposit, see you on the day.
No.
We have our meetings. I know I do my pre-shoots. Everybody does their getting to know the couple. I know you do quite very in-depth meetings and get all that information. But I think you put all that in because it's not. There's no other job in the world like it. And that's why, because I never feel like I'm going to work. I'm not thinking, oh God, not another wedding. I never feel like that.
No, I don't.
It's always like, I can't wait. And you have all these nerves, all this excitement, whatever. Even though I've done over 100 and something weddings, I still get nervous the night before.
Oh yeah, it's like butterflies in your tummy. Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
but it's like you feed off that adrenaline for the day.
And when we had obviously Emily on my second shooter, she was on episode 1 a couple of weeks back. She was saying to me, because the question that Leo asked her, is my dad annoying to work with? And she said her answer to that was, he's only annoying on the way to weddings because he likes to get in that zone, and that's what it's about. Because on that way to that wedding, or the night before, you have to get your mindset into that zone, because it needs every bit of energy you've got to make it as special as you can. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does, because you have to. If you're not in the zone, things will go wrong. And I know, obviously, compared to you, obviously, so when I've touched and when I've done video of a wedding, it's completely different. Completely different. And you think things that can go wrong when you're doing photos with video. Huge respect for anybody that does that, because you have to think so much out of the box, and you have to literally be on it from when you're there until you're gone.
I mean, in your mind, obviously doing weddings as much as we do, I don't know if you do it, but this is how I do it. In my mind, when I'm working at a wedding, I have a mental checklist in my head of things that, necessity bits that need to be done. Obviously, that bridal prep, bits that you need to do in the bridal prep, shooting the dress, shooting all the jewellery, getting the shots of the rings, getting shots of the outside. Get to the actual service, then you're thinking to yourself, right, well, obviously for myself, I've got to check audio, but for you, you've got to check your lighting. Do you need flash? Don't you need flash? Where can you stand? And various other things, It's a mental checklist.
There's 1,001 things that go through your mind, or I call it, in my mind, the what ifs.
The what ifs, yeah. And
the sometimes nobody sees that list.
That's a list that we keep in our minds, and a great example of this is, as we just talked about previously, that wedding that we filmed when it rained. So for us, you and me stood outside in the rain that night, looking and hoping, is this going to change? Is this weather going to change? And it never changed. And then we're like, right, okay, this hasn't worked how we wanted it to do. We go to Plan B now, and then that's what you have to do. You have to adjust. Obviously, you've got to take into consideration things like the weather. You've got to take into consideration, obviously, group shots, especially for you. I mean, that's a big part, isn't it? People send you lists of group shots. It's about also I think as what we do, you don't want to be a supplier who takes over the day. You don't want to make people feel that they are pushed into various things, but in your mind, you know what works best, but you have to kind of provide that to the couple in a way that it's not too pushy, but it's right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think I think any couple that doesn't understand what you're doing, and you come to them and say, look, this is the scenario, he's throwing it down outside, it's blowing a hoolie with the wind, there's no way we're going to get it, but this is the idea I've got. I think you get more back from them by doing that than just going, well, I can't do your group shots.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know the venues that we've worked at, there isn't venues out there that go, well, we can't really help with this.
No.
Do you mean there is venues out there, and we know both of us have done some cracking venues, and they're all very, very supportive of you when you've got an issue.
Yeah, and they work very closely with us, and obviously we work very closely. I mean, the bride and groom spend a lot of time with videographer, with a photographer, a lot of time throughout the day. So that's why it's very important that leading up to that wedding, that they get to know the venue, they get to know the photographer, they get to know the videographer, they get to know the people who are going to spend time with them to capture their moments and be, give them time. So okay, so obviously for the venue they're going like, right, we need obviously guests to sit down for this time, and it all has a backlog because obviously you've got the chefs in the kitchen going, right, we need to get people sat down if it's a 3-course dinner, and then you've got to take into consideration then speeches. Sometimes, as you know, speeches can last 5 minutes, sometimes they can last nearly an hour. You just don't know, and that's sometimes as a photographer and a videographer, we have to then start thinking, right, okay, we don't know how long the speeches are going to be. That could last ages. We haven't done this shot or this shot and this shot. We like to take the couples out, don't we, and do some shots with them. And as the year goes on, we lose light quicker. So again, that's more things you have to think about. But that comes, I think, with experience, really, do you?
Yeah, I definitely think so. You mean, you do think to yourself, and as when we first started off, I'm sure the generation behind that were in front of us, I thought, oh no, another set of whippersnappers coming, they bought a camera. And you do fall into that trap, really. It's a supplier of like, oh God, somebody's bought a camera, somebody can do that, and somebody's going to be a wedding photographer. But I think it's the couples can see through that from the wedding shows, or see your webpage, or see your social media, because social media is so important now than what it was 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
Or 8 years ago when we first started, that people like to see linked to your website, your Instagram, see about the photographer, what they do, what interests they have. It's not now a case of let's just have a look for the website and hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, when I was talking to Ed on last season's show, he was saying to me when he started out, he was in the Yellow Pages. Obviously, times move on, times change. We're in a very, very digital world where things moving all the time. Obviously, you've got your Facebook, you've got your Instagram, TikTok's another really big one, Twitter,
definitely.
And there's various platforms. And what you've got to do, as well as a supplier, is everything else you do. You've got to keep yourself current. You've got to keep your pages updated. You want to show couples your work, and obviously you touched on wedding fairs as well. Again, wedding fairs aren't for everyone. However, I always say to my couples, look, I'm going to be at a wedding fair next month. Come and see me. There's loads of other suppliers there, so if you're still looking for various things, it's a good place to go. I mean, when I spoke to Ed last year when he came on, we had the conversation, do we think, wedding fairs are going to be something that maybe dies out in the future? I don't know. I still think there's a place for them.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, do you still do them?
Yes, I do with Diane and the team at the event company.
Yeah.
I do Dunstan this year. I'm doing Park Farm as well. And it's also nice to see other couples out there who want to see you visually and not meet you in a coffee bar or something like, or along them lines. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you're ever going to meet somebody's going to look. I don't often get people find my website and book me straight away.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I don't think that's ever going to be. But then again, if it's, as you say, rightly so, about Ed, or I think there is certain parts of wedding supplies that you could just book all online. But I think when it comes to them personal things like photography, videography, I think, or your wedding, or your photo booths, I think people want to see what that person is really like, or even DJs. It's not something that I think you would book over a website.
I mean, yeah,
or over a phone.
This is something I discussed last week with Victor when he came on to talk about, obviously, the various types of photo booths and all the amazing things he does. He says, obviously, you can book online, but for him, he has a showroom. So, obviously, things he does is, although he does photos at weddings. It's more obviously a photo booth and things like that. For the couple going, it's mainly for them to go and look and see what types of photo booths and things there are. That's a very important part of the day. However, as I said previously, with a photographer or a videographer, I think it's always best to meet them, have some proper chats, and go through and they can tell you how they envision it. Then you can throw ideas to them. There's been loads of times when I've said to a couple and they've gone, "Do you think this will work?" And I've gone, "Well, I've tried it this way at a wedding. This works well. However, we can try it your way, but I can only recommend." And I think that's something that you do as well.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely agree with that. You mean, as you say, I probably, from yourself, about how you probably do your wedding meetings, and a couple of wedding photographers I know, I probably spend a lot more into my meetings now, as well as not wait until I do it on the pre-shoot, and I keep them two quite separate, that we have a meeting, have a coffee, and discuss it, because I think it is important.
Yeah. So, if someone was looking then to book you, what is the process from their first inquiry to their wedding? How does that process normally work for you?
For me, it's normally from the initial getting in touch. It's very much like from when the email hits, a reply with a link back to my package page, some examples of my work within obviously the client area. Because obviously I keep a client area and I open them up so they can have a look like a whole day looks like. And I always leave it quite, not loosely, but it's very much like, if you'd like to have a coffee in the chat, or if you'd like to do a video call, please let me know.
Yeah.
Is it tried and tested? It seems to work for me. I'm not one for like, in 2 days' time, getting back to them. I normally do like a follow-up a couple of weeks later, and then leave it like that. But generally, that's the way I normally handle an inquiry that I have come in.
So I was looking on your website. I thought I'd have a little look. I see that you do 3 different packages. So obviously,
yes.
Obviously you can say your prices on here if you want. You don't have to. You just tell me a little bit about what each package entails. I noticed for each one as well, you have a second shooter with you.
Yes, it's something that I've been doing from the start, really, to do that, having a second shooter, because, I don't know, venues seem to, or not venues, but people can be, or vicars or what have you, they can be a bit, I don't want you moving around, or having somebody down the other end. You can... just leave them down there and you don't have to move around. I know it's not for everybody, but you mean having that second shooter, and it's not because I'm scared I can't do it on my own. I just think you then get quite a nice varied style through the day of having 2 of us, and we don't fall over each other's feet. And I said I've had Andy with me now 8 years, and he's my, dare I say it, and he cringes when I say he's my reliable Labrador.
Absolutely. Reliable Labrador. Brilliant, yeah. See, I don't think I'd get away with saying that about Emily.
No, I don't think you would.
No.
And I probably, after this, I'm not probably going to go away with it either. But
yeah,
it's as I said, it's one of my formulas that seem to work, and it works well with us. I do have a lot of inquiries come through. Could I second shoot for you? I mean, I do shoot with another photographer, and I'm working hopefully with 2 this year.
Yeah.
Where I'm second shooting for them. So it's always good to then gain that little bit of extra experience. You mean my package? Going back to what you said earlier about the packages. I mean, my package 1 at the moment. You mean obviously I haven't changed my prices are for this year. My package 1 is 1,550, which is 8 hours of photography, which is obviously the 2 of us, and we get there about half an hour, 40 minutes before, probably an hour, I would say, in fairness, and capture the church, capture the venue, guests arriving, and then obviously the ceremony right through to the first dance.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously package 2, which is 1,850, is the preparation in the morning, and capturing bride and groom, us then meeting for the ceremony or at the church or the venue, and then we go right through to just past the first dance.
Yeah.
And then similar with, obviously, it is quite a bit of a price increase for package 3, which is 2,350. It's the same as package 2, but you get a wedding album. It's a 40-page album, a US presentation box, with some photos inside, which obviously they don't get to see. I picked some photos and I gift wrapped them all. It's in a nice to keep presentation box.
Wow.
Which I like to do with a logo on or their name, whatever they choose for. And they have about a year to sort out their wedding album from there.
So you show them the images, I guess. You said you had a client gallery. You showed them the images, and they have to choose.
Yeah, it's something that I had added to my website a couple of years ago. It's been couples have liked it because if they've got a family abroad and what have you, there is a client area for them to go to, and they can basically look at their day. They can order photos from there. They can download them if they want, family members. It's just something that, has always worked for me. But at the moment, I'm catching up, putting on last year's weddings. But yes, I do enjoy putting them all up and then reliving the weddings that have come up from that.
And obviously, if people came to see you at one of these wedding fairs you've got coming up, you'd be able to give them examples and show them some of that, of how you do that.
Yeah, I always have a slideshow on. I always have examples of my work, wedding albums that I've had made up as well. So if they come to the show, it's like my mobile office, if you like.
You're like me. I know what you're like, because when we've worked together, when you capture that special shot, I'm not saying that not all the shots are special, but sometimes you capture that most amazing shot, and like it gives you goosebumps. Do you know what I mean? Do you get that too? I know you're like.
You gotta have a goosebump moment. Where would mine start? It's gotta be gold now. Absolutely love gold now.
Yeah, and you can.
It's one of them moments where you think you play. You literally, people go, well, gold now lasts for ages, and you think you're working in a really tight window of light, and it's like, when do you get them out? When do you get them out? I always think it's quite funny where you can get it to the point, especially in the summer, and you're in a field, and you can hear the music playing for the band or the disco, and you've got them out in this field, and you're just watching the sun go down on them. It's just priceless.
It is.
And anybody that doesn't get that, I'm sorry, you don't. How do you not get that? Because I love it. And
it's stunning.
It's a real buzz when you know that you've got on your camera your wow shot.
And like me, you're the sort of person who likes to, as I said, you go and get in a field if you need to. If you need to hang off a balcony, you do it. Do you know what I mean? to get that shot, you do.
Yeah, let's not go into my trade secrets of hanging off balconies.
you do though. Sometimes you have
but
to.
You do.
You have to.
Do.
Yeah.
You go the extra mile.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the thing that sets us all apart as wedding suppliers, is going that extra mile.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. So, the wedding fairs you got coming up, have you got dates for those? I can let people know.
My next one is in April. That is the April the 21st at Dunstan.
To Dunstan Hall in Norwich?
Yes, I have, but I've got another one in September and another one in October at Park Farm.
Fantastic. So make sure you go down and see Simon at those, and he can have a chat with you and talk to you about all the special moments that he can capture for you. Let's talk about, what areas do you cover? Are you mainly in Suffolk or Norfolk, or do you travel?
I do travel. I've got a couple out of the area this year. I did 3 in Cambridge last year and 2 in Suffolk. This year I'm doing one in Yorkshire.
Wow, that is a bit that is a bit far away.
I don't get too excited about it. It's my cousin's wedding, and she's asked me, and it's in Harrogate, which I'm absolutely over the moon to be doing. As children, we always had holidays up there in Harrogate, and it's on the same day as her mum and dad's wedding anniversary when they got married, at exactly the same time.
That's lovely.
So it's the whole family have all coming together from all different parts of the world, England. So I feel a big pressure, big shoes to fill for this wedding. But yes, I'm looking forward to it immensely.
I think where we are in Norfolk, I think we're extremely lucky. I think we've got some incredible venues.
Definitely. Yes, we are. We have got some stunning venues. And I think that's why Norfolk is such a place to be for wedding venues. And the backdrop for Norfolk, I can't think of anywhere where I don't like to go. And I do love on our back door. But I am also really excited to the ones that I do leave the area for.
Oh, me too. Absolutely.
Yes, as you know, because I know the ones that you've done last year at the area. Yes, there's a lot more hours in the day, but it does make you appreciate the wedding venues that you have on your doorstep.
It really does. But I mean, the benefit obviously of leaving the area, as you said, is you get to explore and you get to see some amazing places, absolutely stunning venues. And I went through a stage a couple of years back where I spent a lot of my life in Ely. I don't know why.
Yes.
It just happened. But I've done weddings in Cambridge like yourself. Obviously, I've been to Ipswich. I've done quite a few in Essex, Peterborough. You travel, and you're right. Sometimes you don't necessarily need to travel to see what's amazing on your doorstep. So, I mean, although it's amazing to travel to these places, as you said, sometimes it does. You get to the end of the day when you've been there all day. It gets to about 10 o'clock, and then you drive home. You've got like a three hour drive ahead of you. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely with you on that one. And I think, but then you're still buzzing.
Absolutely. And you still get that adrenaline.
Yeah, you still run on that adrenaline, definitely. You still run on the adrenaline, and you just think to yourself, but as I said, as long as I'm doing a wedding, I don't mind.
No.
I don't know where I go. I said, you're making somebody's memories for them. And I think at the end of the day, that's the most important part of the day.
And it's about having fun. Because I don't know about you. Well, I do know about you because I've worked with you so many times. You feel like, because you're coming into someone's special day, you feel part. They make you feel not warm. They make you feel part of it. They make you feel welcome. And at the end, you feel like you feel like you're part of it.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with you on that one. And it's not the case of I'd never want to be looked at as take your money and run. See you on the day.
No.
It's following that journey from when they've booked you. There's several couples that even into next year, one couple especially, they come every single wedding show to see me. Yeah.
For me, when I'm editing a film, I spend so long looking at them in the bride, obviously in her dress, the groom in his suit, and that's in your mind. That's how that image of them is burnt in. So when you see them out in the street and they're wearing their jeans and a t-shirt, you take a bit of like, hang on, you're not wearing a suit. What's happening here? Because that's how you remember them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. They completely make sense. I had to do it, and I actually turned. I think, who's that woman over there? That there you go, bang.
Yeah.
But they do. There is ones that touch your heart. As I said, hopeless romantic that I am. There is ones that touch your heart. There really is.
Yeah, and there's ones that there's weddings that you'll never ever forget, ever.
No, and I'm not saying that everyone won't. I don't want couples to sit back and think, "Oh, was mine not special?" They're special in all their ways, but the nature of a human being, some people are tactile more than others.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I love that. But some people are just like, "Oh, okay, thank you ever so much," and you get a lovely card, or you get a box of chocolates, or a case of wine, or whatever, which I've always so touched with. And you just think to yourself, "That's why I love my job."
Yeah. But the thing is, we don't like when I spoke to Emily 2 weeks ago on the show. We talked about it's really nice as well that the couples make you feel included. They sometimes feed you at a wedding, and again, that's stuff we don't expect it, and it's really nice. Obviously, it's a long day, so it is nice to be fed, but they make you feel so part of it. And then, as you said before, sometimes they send you like a little card to say thank you, and when you get it, you're like, wow, you've made a difference to that person on their most special day of their life.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely, 100% with you on that one.
So
and you just think to yourself, yeah, I get that.
So let's just quickly touch upon your style. Is there a certain style you use with your photography?
I do like the traditional parts, and it does seem that it is becoming a bit of a diet about family group shots.
Family group shots.
I don't spend like hours and hours and hours doing them.
Yeah.
But I do think it's important to get mum, dad, bridegroom, grandparents, aunt, uncle, friends, group shot, as in everybody. I do enjoy doing that. Style-wise, I wouldn't say I'm traditional. I do quite like the crisp, dark, not dark, but quite contrasty pictures with my style. I wouldn't say cinematic, because I know quite a lot of people do that cinematic, but it's fade out some of the greens and just make them sharp. I don't do trickery photos. Let's have a couple running away from a T-Rex.
Yeah.
The cheesy stuff. I suppose I would say I'm definitely non-cheese.
Non-cheese. Yeah, I agree.
Non-cheese.
But I mean, just speaking about obviously your style and stuff like that, I'd say every photographer these days use either Photoshop or Lightroom. I guess it's something you use to not change the image, but maybe change kind of like uprightness and various things like that.
Yeah.
And obviously we're in 2024 now. It's always changing with Photoshop and stuff like that with AI. Do you think that's something you'll maybe look at in the future, or is that something that doesn't interest you at all?
I've tried it. There was a shot that I'd done at Bressingham, and it was them by a tree, just them, and I ended up using AI to put a reflection underneath it.
Yeah.
They loved it. I felt like I was cheating.
I understand. I mean, people look at it.
Not there. Why put it in?
Yeah. I mean, some people do request. Like, I mean, you probably get people saying, "Oh, can you take a couple of my freckles out, or or I've got a spot on my chin. Can you? Do you ever get anyone say sort of stuff like that?"
I suppose I was really shocked. I done a wedding about 5 years ago, and the bride had a birthmark across her chest.
Okay.
Somebody messaged, not personally, messaged on my page on Facebook, "Would you like me to show you how to remove that birthmark?"
Wow.
And I was a bit...
I mean, that's part of the person. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't...
Yeah, that person. I've never had where the bride, and I'm not naming and shaming, but I've had them, "Can you make me thinner? Can you make me curvier? Can you give me more boobage?" You get them tease you through the day on that, and you just think, I wish that was that easy.
Yeah.
It's possible, don't get me wrong, but I think what you take is what you should edit, not add to.
I agree. Obviously, I work with various different photographers, and you work, obviously, a photographer and a videographer working together, you bounce ideas off each other, and...
Yeah, you do. You mean, I'm lucky that I get to work with... I've worked with you. I've worked with several other videographers, and I suppose because we're friends as well, that makes it slightly easier. But if you have a videographer from out of the area come in, you've got a very short window of time to gel with that person, because you're going to be working with them all day. Yeah. And I think it's very much, and I've worked hard at going, "Hi, never met you before, I've had a look at your work," and I think it's very important you build that rapport, because if not, all you're going to do is cause stress for the rest of the day. I
mean, what I normally do is, when I know I've got a wedding coming up, I've not met the photographer before, I always drop a little message a couple of weeks beforehand and say, "Hi, I'm doing so-and-so's wedding, just wanted to give you a heads up, just to say hello." I always try, and then obviously on that day, you've got something, "Oh, do you remember we messaged the other week?" And I try and do it like that. When I first started doing what I do with video, I worked with a photographer, who I won't name and shame, but they were very much of the opinion that I'm going to do this with the couple, and you can wait to one side and do your thing when I'm done. And I don't necessarily think that's the right way. I mean, obviously...
I'm totally with you on that one. It's not... I think it's... you share what you're doing. And I know when we've worked together, I've stepped back, that you do your bit, because you have I think it's easy to say, what I need from a photo and what you need from a video are two very, very different. Yeah. And I know when shot video, you can't achieve that through a couple just standing there.
No, for video it's very much about movement, and obviously for me,
so
the audio.
Whereas I put them in a field and go hold hands and look at each other, snap. That's my bit. Yeah. For you, if you did that, that's a couple of seconds of nothing.
I mean, it's a perfect example of this is when I've worked weddings before with photographers, and they go, "What we'll do is we're just going to do a quick a shot of the cake of you pretending to cut it," and there's no point me filming that, because if I film that, it's just them holding a knife in the air, and so that's, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. You see, there's certain bits in the day that you know as a photo and you know as a video. Yeah. And I think I understood that when we done the first work, because you were probably one of the first videographers I worked with.
Yeah.
but actually explained what you look in a day.
What I'm looking for, and it's a hard thing to understand if you haven't done it. Obviously, for me, I'd probably be lost doing photography. It's not for me, but people think because you've got a camera, like as I said 2 weeks ago when I spoke with Emily, people see her or me with a camera and can you just take a photo? And actually, we're like, no, we're here to video. Because obviously cameras are a lot smaller now, but people think it's the same thing. That is a stereotype.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I've got a wedding this year. The mum's contacted me and saying, "Well, I see there's 2 photographers. Can you record it?"
Right.
He's there to do photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he only has to turn it over to video, doesn't he?
That's all he's got to do. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, but he's never done video before.
Right.
Yeah, but you do. I've seen you do some, and it's just you can't teach somebody that if that's not there.
No. Exactly, and this is the other point. I mean, like, I should imagine. I see this a lot through video. When you turn up to a wedding, and then you've got like an Uncle John or someone. And he rocks up with his camera, and he's bought it.
Yep.
He's bought it from Argos,
Yep.
£500, and he thinks he knows everything. And then sometimes, I think it's nice that everyone likes to take. Everyone's got a mobile phone these days. They take pictures. But
exactly.
Sometimes you've got to just let us get on with it and capture them shots. Yeah, they might capture the odd 1 or 2 nice shots, but sometimes people are a bit funny like that.
And I think I can get that. Like, I remember the one we done a wedding at Southwood Hall.
Yep.
It was you, me, and Ed. And Ed was helping you, and I couldn't do the group shots because of where the sun was sitting, and I had to wait till later because there was no coverage to keep shadows away or keep people blinking. And like one of them uncles that we often mention came, well, I've just done it on my iPhone. Why can't you do it on your camera?
It's the same thing, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yeah, you stand there and you just think, please don't say that. Oh, you did say that louder.
Yeah.
So everybody hears.
The worst one I've ever had, Simon, is talking to people at a wedding fair, and they walk past and go, no, I don't need video, I'll just stick a GoPro in my bouquet. And you think, really?
I'd like to see how big the bouquet is. I can't hide that
Absolutely.
from the photographer.
Absolutely. Anyway, I digress. Let's get Leo on. He's got a question that he's been busting to ask you. So,
oh God.
So I'll get Leo.
Is there a drum roll with this, or do I have to sort of go, oh
no? Yeah, well, always be worried, because basically this is the part of the show where Leo he is young. He has a young person's mind, so always be a little bit worried. You know what Leo's like, so I'm going to bring him on now.
I know what my boys are like, so I am with bated breath waiting for this.
Okay, here we go.
Have you ever had an SD card corrupt? Hopefully not, though.
Hi Leo. Hope you're well. Thanks for the question. Have I ever had an SD corrupt? Yes. Never felt so sick my whole life. I don't know why, because there was still another one running to it, but it was in the middle of the ceremony, and it just said card number 2 failed.
Oh my God!
So he was trying to flip that out, put it into the bag, and get another one out while the bride is walking down the aisle. Would you believe?
Oh my God, that is the worst. I mean, for me, that is a videographer and a photographer's worst nightmare. And you think, what do you do? And you get yourself a little bit in a panic, don't you?
Yeah, and you have to smile.
Absolutely.
Because they're walking down the aisle, so you got no option, and you feel like everybody's watching you.
And they're not.
Everybody can see something's happened.
Yeah, the only person that knows that what's happened is you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then,
everything was fine. I didn't lose any photos. I put it into the card reader when I got home. They all downloaded, and I threw the card.
Oh, for God's sake! But it is.
It only happened once in 100+ weddings.
It is it's a very, very rare thing to happen, and hopefully it won't happen anytime soon for any of us.
No, let's not talk that up.
Let's not talk
Thank you, Leo.
Leo, yeah. Well, as you can tell, Leo does like to get the hard-hitting questions in. So yeah.
I'll wait for the next one.
Yeah. Anyway. Simon, it has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, as always. Obviously, you're one of my best friends in the whole world anyway, so it's always a pleasure to have a chat with you. But to hear a little bit about how you go about getting your style and getting the way you deal with customers and how you work on the day. Hopefully, give some insight, for people who are looking to book you. Where can they find you online? Are you on? You obviously said you're on social media. Where's the best place to find you? What's your website?
Well, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok. It's Simon Watson Photography .co.uk.
So simonwatsonphotography.co.uk. How far do you take bookings in advance at the moment? Have you got any? Are you?
I am booking. I'm still booking for this year.
Yep.
Booking 2025 and 2026.
Fantastic. There we go. So if you are looking for a brilliant photographer, then obviously Simon is the way to go, and he's got a pretty good videographer friend, mate, as well, who can maybe team up with him too. So yeah.
Indeed, he has.
Cheap plug. So yeah, why not?
Did you want me to plug you then, or is
No. I'm
everybody's going to guess it's you?
Well, the thing is,
everybody guesses it's
everyone
you.
is. I mean, everyone's guessing this thing. I mean, obviously it's my show. I've got to promote myself. But anyway.
Of course you have. You've got to get in there somewhere, haven't you?
But the benefit, obviously, with booking someone like Simon to work alongside me is because we work together so much. It really helps.
Yes, it does. Definitely.
Really,
I think if you're in tune with that person as well, then that's brilliant.
Because we've done we must have done at least 10 plus weddings within the last couple of years together anyway.
Yes, we have. Yeah, we have.
And other projects.
As I said, we've had some great memories and some great times. And
loads to come.
We've never had the easiest of weddings, should I say.
No, but we're scratching the surface. We've got loads more amazing adventures to come.
Definitely so.
Anyway, Simon, it's been a pleasure. As I said, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for asking me on the show. And I'm glad I accepted.
Good, I'm glad you did too, and I'm hopefully we'll get you on another series down the line. But yeah, thanks.
Excellent, that'd be great.
Well, it's been brilliant to talk to Simon. Thank you so much for coming on, Simon. It's always a pleasure to have you here. It's been another brilliant week. Thank you, Leo, for your question. It's always great to have you on as well. So thank you. Next week we will be talking to the 7-time award-winning DJ in Norfolk, Nick Chatton. He's going to be coming on and talking to us a little bit about how he got started as a DJ, types of first dances, hosting weddings, all sorts of things. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you all next week, guys. Have a phenomenal week. Again, phenomenal. I use that at the end of every show, apparently. I'll see you on the Wed-Cast next Wednesday, and have a great week, guys. Catch you on the flip.